failure. He participates and coordinates health fairs and free presentations and organizes fundraising events. If there's a health event in the community, be assured that he's there. Last year, he single-handedly provided health education to more than 7,000 veterans and other citizens. He's determined to help others identify kidney disease at an early stage when it is possible to slow down or stop progression of this deadly disease. Last year, he logged in more than 400 hours spreading his message and traveling more than 2,500 miles at his own expense. As a disabled veteran and twice a cancer survivor, he encourages everyone to do research and ask questions about their own health care. Beyond his health advocacy work, he has also served as Health ambassador, Lions Club member, Lions Medical Eye Bank advocate, Sickle Cell associate partner, and with Hampton Roads Gazette. His volunteer service in Hampton Roads is priceless, and he works to improve individual and community health. I'd like to introduce Mr. Wallace Green Sr.
Thanks for the kind words. First of all, I'd like to thank everyone for coming out for this special occasion with Ellen and to receive her award. It gives me great pleasure to actually show the appreciation for the work that Ellen has done with Health and Awareness. I actually wrote some things down, but when it gets down to talking about kidney and individuals helping others and doing things for the community, I normally get rid of my notes because I love to speak from my heart, and of course that's where Ellen come involved. About 8 years ago, I decided to form an organization of health and awareness after serving on dialysis for 8 years and waiting for a kidney. During that time, I realized that kidney disease was preventable. I couldn't believe it. The more I looked at my medical record, I found that my kidneys was failing as young as 17 years old. Without the knowledge and the information from the doctors, that was one of the things that upset me. Not at the doctors, but I started being upset at myself. I'm quite sure a lot of you heard the old theory, pointing fingers. You got three pointing back at you. The more I read, that's what was happening to me. I started realizing all of that information about my kidneys failing was in my medical record. And when I went to see the doctors, I went to see the doctors for them to live for me. And I realized, wait a minute, that's backwards. I'm supposed to be going for them for treatment, not to live for me, but yet I allow it to happen. And I realized there were so many other people just like me that went to the doctors for them to live for them. We had no ideas what our lab reports was about. We had no idea other than the ones they explained, but yet we looked at this big long sheet and we've seen a lot of other things on there. And these doctors not gonna order this blood just for the heck of ordering it. There's for a reason, because there's a lot of things that are inherited. When you write down on your list, it talks about family history. They start looking at those things, but we don't question it. So lo and behold, I decided to form an organization to educate people on my lack of knowledge, because I didn't want that to happen to anyone else. So I started a search of actually looking for individuals to volunteer and become a part of Health and Awareness. It was kind of difficult. And one young lady came out after explaining to her what my desires were. She referred Ellen to me. She never came back, but she referred Ellen. Ellen met with me, we sat down and talked, and I told her this is ground rules. I've never been in the medical field, I don't have any idea, but one of the things I do have is that determination and passion to help others to avoid kidney failure. Ellen said, I'll get back with you, but I can only do this for 1 year. She talked about all the other things she was involved with. And for those of you that know Ellen, you know she's involved with a lot of things. So I said, well, for all that she talked about, I probably won't hear from her again. She called me. And when she did, she said, tell me some more. What are your plans? What are we going to do? And then, of course, she continued to tell me, only for 1 year. She brought a young lady by the name of Wendy with her. They both said, 1 year is all we're gonna do. We're working on our 9th year, and Ellen is still with us. Woo! Before I get into the award, we talk about, to mention how great Ellen is, which of course I don't have to tell Frank because he already knows. But since you're there, I'm gonna say it anyway. All right. We gotta talk about the silly side of it. The little goofy side. And let's not leave out that stubborn side. Frank said, oh yeah. Because Ellen can get to the point to where she's stubborn sometimes, and especially when we call these meetings. When Ellen comes, she don't come to sit and listen. Ellen come in with suggestions, recommendations, and things of that nature. And if in fact she don't understand, she'll let you know. Sometimes she gets on the phone and we're talking, and Ellen, I'm in the middle of this project, but you know I don't really understand this. We're gonna go to this. Okay, but you did say you got to get dinner ready for Frank, right? Okay, isn't it that time? Oh yeah, I got to go do that. 5 minutes later, she's back on the phone calling again. I thought you was cooking dinner for Frank. Oh, I got that going over here. I got the phone under my neck, you know. Then she went and got headphones. I said, oh my goodness, now she's never gonna leave this thing. If she's got to pick up the kids, she's in the car and she's calling because she's got something she don't understand, but we got to get it straight. So she's really determined in what it is she's doing and faithful and passionate about it because we're going to get this thing right. That was the most important thing about her when she's doing it. We got to get it right. Then, of course, there's that little silly, goofy side that I was talking about. Where when we get to these events, we try to do something that we can relax after all the hard work of planning and putting things together. And I never forget the event that we had. It snowed like crazy up in Hampton. And of course, we didn't have too many people come out at that event because it snowed. Matter of fact, they canceled everything. And this was the time that I think Ellen did the Alicia Key, This Girl's on Fire. And let me tell you, she had reason to be because she actually generated almost $500 in donations in the fund collection. You know, so she was on fire that particular day. But what actually takes it all was an event that she decided to be Diana Ross. Feathers and wigs and everything else there was. She came out and she did her Diana Ross skit. And of course, let's face it, she took the show that day. That's only a drop in the bucket of Ellen. For those of you that know Ellen, you know she can be real. And when I say real, it's professional-wise and also the person that she is. If she don't like you, you'll find out about it. Because she will tell you, and then sometimes she'll sit back and say, oh, I shouldn't have said that. But it was the truth. I constantly go to Newport News to drop off her material, pamphlets and things of that nature when she's doing the fundraising. And I had just completed my book of Why Not Me that I wrote basically talking about from a patient standpoint that if in fact the kidney disease happened to me and I'm doing all the things that can cause kidney disease, then why not me? And that's basically a book that 200 other patients that I interviewed, I have their information in there as well to help people prevent and the little crazy things that we do on a daily basis that's causing our kidneys to fail. Some people have cancer, some people have a lot of different problems. So the why not me applies to our daily living because nobody knows your body like you do. So we have to be mindful of those particular things. So in the middle of dropping this material off, Ellen says, let's do a Facebook Live. For those of you that don't know what that is, it's actually she's doing a live recording interview while you're actually talking to her, and the people that's on Facebook can actually see you, join in, ask questions and everything. So we're out there by Roses. Mm-hmm. We stopped outside, I'm dropping the material off. I'm in front of Roses with these flower background that she chose. She thought was a good background. So we're doing the interview. In the middle of the interview, Ellen stopped this other young man, wanted to talk to him, she'll stop. everybody. If you got anything that you got to do, and you got Ellen along with you, better ask her next time in there. Because this sister's going to, hello, how you doing, where you from, what you doing, and all this stuff. She makes friends with everybody that she meets. There is not a stranger. So at that point, she sat and talked to this guy, and lo and behold, this guy wrote a book. And Ellen had set up things with him to actually do a Facebook Live. Now keep in mind, all these things we're talking about, there's no money involved. Ellen doesn't ask anybody for any particular thing she do. It's actually for an organization or to donate or to give and things of this nature. I think once she actually, you know anybody that got book bags for the church? I found book bags, gave them to her, took them up to the church, and we try to do that. So we try to share amongst everybody. So everybody gets into that little family, that little knit. We try to find everything how to help one another. You know the way it used to be? For those of you that know about sharing, there's see a lot of heads, because it got to be more than me to know about sharing it. Yes. You know, when we talk about sharing, we find out that sometimes when times get hard, they're not as hard as they can be. But when we got others that we can lean on, and others that we can just tell our story, all of a sudden, those things that are hard is not as hard, it's not as difficult. And that's thanks to people like Ellen. So enough of that. What I like to do at this point is have my wife, Sandra, come up and read a certificate from Health and Awareness just before I get into the award from the governor.
Chair Ellen, you have contributed a great deal of your personal effort in volunteering on many committees such as board member, marketing manager, lead person, fundraising coordinator, and support representative of health and awareness during the past 7.5 years. To thank you adequately is impossible. You spent long hours on numerous projects, sacrificing your personal time for greater good of others. Your fundraising, dedication, and passion played a key role in educating thousands to prevent chronic kidney disease. You assisted volunteers adjust to last-minute changes during health and awareness events. It's because of your unselfishness and loyalty that Health and Awareness is a successful 501c3 nonprofit organization. Finally, I appreciate your heartfelt decision to team up with Health and Awareness when Health and Awareness was an army of one. Thanks again for your contribution in raising awareness concerning the epidemic of kidney disease prevention, the fast-growing non-communicable disease in America. I do hope you receive some inner satisfaction in knowing your volunteering have contributed to making Hampton Roads a healthy place to live and work. Thank you sincerely for all your wholehearted assistance.